everybody, thank you so much for joining. This is not gonna work. This is too low. Okay, welcome back everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Today marks week 2, or this week marks week 2 of me giving my best toddler advice, tips, tricks, whatever you want to call it. Today's video is going to be all about speech. Today we're going to be talking about toddler talking and speech. Now, just a little disclaimer, I am not a doctor, not a speech therapist, not a speech pathologist, not a zookeeper. I am a former teacher, so I went to school for education, so I do have some background in children. I know how to make a lesson plan, a 9-page lesson plan to be exact, but whatever. So I'm gonna try to do this in as little takes as possible. So if I get to rambling, just ignore me for a hot second. I promise I'll circle back, but I do have my notes written down here. So if you are catching me looking down, I promise I'm not being weird. I am looking at my notes. I'm gonna get started with a little backstory on our son. So our son is 2.5 years old. I would say that around a year was when Jet really started to talk to us. Of course, at 7, 8 months, he was saying mama, dada, sounds, things like that. He would say rah rah a lot. It was really cute. So when he started talking, I noticed very quickly, and at about the year mark, he started talking a lot. Oh yeah, so at a year, he knew all of his animal sounds. He could talk to me about different things. He'd say bye-bye and hello and all those different things. To me, in my opinion, since he turned a year, he's just been really smart. So anyways, I wanted to outline a couple of different strategies that I used, or I think I used. I don't know if this actually contributed to what he did, but it can't hurt to put my advice out there, and you can try them if you want. You don't have to try them if you want. Like I said, I am not anything other than me. So anyways, so now he's 2.5, 2 and 7 months. Flash forward to now. He is talking in 12, 13, 14 word sentences. He can tell you exactly what's going on in his life. He can tell you all about the day he's had. He can remember things, my gosh, like 3 or 4 months ago that we did. He talks about them to this day. That's just a perspective pointer for you watching. Like, I promise I'm not just making this up to make me seem like a better parent, because I'm not a good, I'm a good parent. I'm a good parent. I'm not gonna say I'm not a good parent, but I'm not saying that I'm a perfect parent, and I'm not saying that you're any lesser of a parent than me, because honey, we all got some. So here are 5 things that I think contributed to Jet's success with speaking. So number 1, right off the bat, we have never baby talked with him. Like maybe once or twice, occasionally here and there during the week, we'd be like, oh, you're so cute, oh. But we didn't, like, that wasn't our primary form of speech. We talked to him like he was a grown-up. And I keep looking at my camera lens. Not my lens, this is my lens, this is my screen. We talked to him like he was a grown-up, and we like told him everything. So if we were making French toast, I would sit there in the kitchen with him, talking to him about what I was doing. I'm cracking an egg, putting it in a bowl, stirring the egg, putting the bread in the egg, flipping it over. All of the different things that I would do, I would try to just walk through it. And that wasn't hard for me, because I sit here and talk to myself all day long, and that's kind of also embarrassing, because the other day in the car, I was talking to myself, and Jet chimed in and said, Mommy, who are you talking to? Yikes. Okay, that's the stage we're at right now. Okay, so yeah, so I would just talk to myself and tell, like an imaginary camera, what I was doing all day long, every step. Didn't matter if he understood it, didn't matter if I thought it was bogus, whatever. Don't just say, oh, they don't know what I'm talking about, or they don't hear me. They do. They hear everything, and they hear sounds, and they hear what you're doing, and I think it just helps build the vocabulary from a young age. I mean, I was doing this at 6, 5, 7 months, you know, like I was always talking. Number 2 is that when he asked a question about something, we did not dumb it down. So one example I like to think about is whenever He was learning about different like tractors, excavators, things like that. My husband was telling him exactly what they were, and he now will tell you when it's an articulated front end loader. And I don't know what an articulated front end loader is, but Jet can tell you, because yeah. So don't dumb speech down. Don't just say, oh, it's a ball. You can say it's a basketball and tell them exactly what it is, because now Jet can tell me exactly which ball is which. So just don't go into it saying, oh, it's just this, it's just that. Tell them what it is, explain to them, because that's the only way they learn, is through you telling them. Third tip is to read to your children. Read to your children so much that you can't think straight. This is the proven success factor in all ages of children. I don't care if your kids don't like to listen to you read. I don't care if your baby is a baby and they don't understand you. Read to them. That's how they hear those new words. That's how they hear those letter sounds. Things that I never would think to talk about are in books. And it also helps later on, whenever your child is learning how to read, to read fluently and read with, I don't remember the word, tempo, structure, read with periods, commas, that kind of thing. Fourth tip is to talk about the letter sounds with your kid. Talk about the letter sounds, read about the letter sounds, introduce the letter sounds. Say cat, paw. Where was I going with p? I was gonna say ball, but that's a b. Introduce the letter sounds by telling them, this is a cat, cat, so they can use that sound and reproduce that sound. Again, that's the only way they learn, is by hearing and by repeating you, or by looking at your lips. The way you form your mouth when you make different sounds is so different. Do that, enunciate those sounds. It just helps. The fifth tip that I have, and not really in any particular order because these aren't really ranked from high to medium to low, whatever. But the fifth tip that I have is to introduce sounds with items that your child is comfortable with or enjoys. So when I was introducing sounds with Jet, he was probably 2 by that point. And I got a letter puzzle that had all the little puzzle pieces that were all the different letters. And we'd talk about, hey, this is a C. It stands for cat. But then I realized he didn't really care, because it's just a C. And he doesn't really, now he does, but he didn't really need to know what the letter C looked like yet. He just needed to get familiar with that sound and get familiar with how he uses letter sounds throughout his life. Instead of using the C himself, or the puzzle piece of a C, I would pull out different toys that started with a letter. So I'd pull out a car, and I'd pull out a cat, stuffed animal, and I would literally sit down with him and talk about, this is a cat. It says cat. And then I'd say, it starts with the letter C. And I could even pull out the tile that had a C on it if I wanted to. But I found that he was really a lot more engaged and willing to repeat those sounds with me if I had something that he was actually interested in. So you might be wondering, Annie, that's all great, but I want to read to my kid, but I don't know what books to read. I don't have any books. It doesn't matter. Read the newspaper to your child. Read labels on the back of a box. Anything that you can read to them, read to them. But if you can get your hands on some children's books, do it, because they are phenomenal and engaging, and I love to have the pictures out and he can just look at the pictures. And that's one of the first skills that they learn how to read, is by reading through pictures. So it's really important to have those. Now, library cards are a thing, and garage sales are a thing. That's how I got the entire library for my classroom, through garage sales. So now I have those all at home, and I have these books. They're the alphabet sound box books. So they have the whole alphabet. I've gotten most of them from garage sales. You don't have to have all of them, but if you can buy them all, because they're awesome. So they're like little story books, and it's a story, but it involves one letter or one sound the entire time. So like this little girl, little P, had a box, and so it goes through, like, she found a poodle and it was a puppy, and she put the poodle in the box, and then she said she found a pig. And it's a story, but it involves one letter sound, and it provides that repetition of a letter sound. So I highly recommend these. This one came from a garage sale. I guess it was in a library at one point in time. But get these on Amazon. They're linked to my Amazon storefront if you want some, but they're awesome. And then another book that I highly recommend is called My Fun Words. My mom actually had this from when I was little, and I pulled it out of her house one day and I was like, I'm taking this home with me. So it's like a dictionary for kids, basically. It's got like all of these different words that kids use frequently in alphabetical order. So there's a lot of different examples for each letter, which I really like because sometimes the letter sounds sound differently in different words. And then it's got like a description of each word, and it uses that word over and over and over in that description, and it's also got a picture. So I definitely recommend this, My Fun Words. Again, it's linked to my Amazon storefront if you want to check it out. But seriously, just read any storybook to your kid. Go to garage sales. They're like 25 cents most of the time to grab a ton of books, and they're fun to just look at and fun to just interact with. So with all of those tips being said, I hope that one of them resonated with you. I hope that this helped in some sort of way. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys back next week with another video on Thursday at 5 p.m. Bye, you guys.